We joined EXP in 2019, and it was the best decision that we made that year. If you have questions on what it's like to be at this brokerage, reach out to us. Happy to chat. Let's get to the content.
Welcome to The Solution, a real estate podcast where Jeff Seabuck and Phil Sexton come together at the glass table to talk about things that we're seeing in this wonderful changing industry that we have built a team in.
This year is the year of impending change. And if I may quote Ernest Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway said, I think he was referring to the sunrise, that it appears slowly, then all at once, right? And that is what is going on in the real estate industry. But it's just hard to get people's attention when the sun isn't up in the sky, raying down our beautiful 300 days of sunshine here in the valley, right? When it's just peeking out. So we're going to talk about the things that are peeking out because we're expecting the all at once coming. But I don't hear, everybody's too concerned about the hot market. I can't find my buyer a house. We're but the point of it is that
so today's
nobody prepared us for low supply.
What is the topic?
And nobody's is how to protect yourself against my expectation, and I would say my meter of expectation is now in the high 90s, that the overall commission structure is going to change in real estate.
Got it. So
right?
Today's topic is how do you protect your commissions? How do you protect what you get paid in this industry in the face of change?
Right. So, because when we put out a message that maybe demonstrates that there's possibly lower commissions, we get hate mail.
That's true.
Right.
From consumers?
Sellout. No, just from people, from realtors.
Oh,
realtors thinking that we are the Seabuck team is the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm here to let them know that the barn's been out. The horse has been out of the barn for a long time. And we're gonna talk about some examples of that, and then we're gonna conclude with this is how you can fix it. Because I think first you have to have a full appreciation of what is going on in the industry to because
it's almost like the senior players in the industry are the William Wallace's, like telling every other agent to hold.
Right.
Hold.
Oh, love this scene. Yes.
Hold.
What was the movie?
Braveheart.
Yes, right. No, they're definitely, the old guard is holding
and
on.
The consumer is like, don't hold.
Well, all right. So let's talk about some of those things, right? So there was first morally, the first 4 lawsuits that came out about realtor commissions. Well, now there was a 5th lawsuit about commissions. Like first the DOJ came out and said that it's not right, and the realtors responded with, okay, we'll make it transparent.
We'll show the buyer broker commission offering publicly.
Right.
We won't keep that behind the closed doors anymore.
Right.
We'll let everybody know up front that what the buyer broker commission is being offered.
Right. And that
do we know when is that change going to happen?
It's supposed to be I think it's the end of April.
Okay, so we're getting close to that.
Right. When I'm like, there's no way how do we not start seeing that now if it's going to make it? Like, I don't know.
You would think the amount of IDX software that has to be updated to remain compliant. That's a lot of software.
Well, Phil, they should have had it transparent right from the start.
Fair.
Right? Like, to me, this is a little knock on our favorite association, but meaning that because NAR owns MLS and it's not transparent to the consumer that what commission's being paid, and that with a new lawsuit from the DOJ, it says that the realtor is no longer allowed to say their services are the big 4-letter F word that you and I both love more than anything in marketing.
Free 99.
Free 99. It is no longer
a buyer's agent can't say that their services are free.
Right.
Because that was a script that a lot of buyers agents
used. That was the script that I used.
You're not paying me, buyer.
That was 2005, 2004, I'm sitting open houses. I had no idea how to convert people at open houses. So I came out with a postcard that said, my services are free and I'll credit you 2,500 of my commission just if you work with me, because I had no business and I was trying and I was just swimming. And because, I worked in a very competitive marketplace. So I was guilty. And now they're saying, because I know that I did it and maybe some of our audience did it, said that they're no longer allowed to use those words. It will be, I guess, is against the code of ethics. I don't know if it's against the code of ethics, but the DOJ said you can't say it. And who wants to be against the Department of Justice of the United States of America, Phil?
Not many people.
Not many people.
Not many realtors.
Okay.
Either. All right.
Step one, more transparency. But the reality of what is the slippery slope that we're on is now, because the new lawsuits are pending from the originating lawsuit that came about. And so in California on last week or the week before, Compass and Realegi, Compass went public today, right?
Like, is that a joke?
What?
It's April Fool's Day.
No, they actually went public today.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
No.
I wasn't sure.
No, they went. Yeah. So Compass, who's not in Arizona, but is in 20 major markets and a major real estate brand. I mean, they went public for, I don't know, like $8 or $10 billion. So those that may not know the name,
$18 a share or something like that.
Yeah, I could go to Inman.
You're good. You don't even, let's stay on
track.
track.
All right. But more importantly, they were sued in California that buyers are being charged too much commission, or I'm sorry, sellers are being charged. So the lawsuit says that the realtors are being overpaid, basically.
The realtors are being overpaid?
Yeah, they're guaranteed commissions.
Yeah.
The buyer commissions are.
That's not what the lawsuit.
Yes,
says that the realtors are overpaid. Okay.
I'm summing it up.
Okay, all right.
I can.
It's not. I guess I thought I didn't read it. My apologies. I should have come more prepared. But it's
no doubt.
It's very evident that of the lawsuits, that the regular theme of the lawsuits is more around the seller assuming they are obligated to offer a certain percentage to the other side.
No. The buyers are saying because you included, because I took a commission I took a mortgage based on paying your commission that was not disclosed to me, that now I roll it into my mortgage because I had my down payment, but I borrowed 90%, which now you mortgaged that commission that I didn't have any choice in the negotiation of the commission that was being charged. It was pushed into my mortgage without me having to agree to anything, because I paid more for the house because of the commission for the agent that didn't do the services that I would have wanted to pay. I think it was, the example was, it was like a $900,000 house, and then the commission was $27,000, and that agent, I'm paraphrasing, I think had only sold one house, and the agent didn't help him out with the search process, and they didn't help out getting a mortgage. They didn't show up at the inspection,
and it wasn't up to, and the buyer had no ability to negotiate the fee that was paid to his new agent
or whatever it is. Yeah, the different law. There's 6 different lawsuits now. So, I mean, it's not like each of them says a little different thing, and I get confused. And I'm not trying to say anyone in particularly, but now that we're at 6 lawsuits, so then there's a think tank on the East Coast that's, do you think that there's smart people in the think tank, or do you think that there's dumb people in the think tank?
What's the topic?
The topic is, are realtors overpaid?
Oh,
the topic is, you can go out to Rob Hahn, Notorious ROB.
I know some of the people.
Right.
They're smart people. Let's go smart people.
Yes. Very, very, very.
But I don't know that smart or not smart is the proper.
Okay. Sorry.
How about
informed?
How about, dude, what are the intentions?
Okay, sorry.
What are the intentions of the people in that?
It's a professor from the management school at NYU's business school.
Yes.
Right. Like it's an attorney.
That sounds like a smart person.
I mean, just someone that's informed, right? He actually has a course on real estate, and ethics and other things, right? So these people, these professors and attorneys are weighing in on that realtors are they're fixing commissions.
Yeah.
Like they're referring it to almost being like a monopoly or something like that they're getting it, and that that in other jobs you don't get guaranteed pay when you don't complete
and you don't do a good job.
Right.
But real estate, you do.
You do. Right. Like there's no
and that's what we see is going to change.
Yes.
Like regardless of which lawsuit is right or wrong. Are you looking for an eraser?
Of course. I got one over there.
Right. Regardless of which lawsuit sticks or doesn't stick, the idea and the concept doesn't seem is valid.
Well, unfortunately, it's
just a matter of which, and every time we read a new lawsuit, actually, I mean, these are words out of your mouth, is every new lawsuit that comes is worded a little bit better.
Right.
A little bit better.
Right.
A little bit better. And so thinking that this industry, you're in the 90 percentile, that this commission structure is going to change from all of this pressure on NAR.
I think just transparency alone is going to cause it to change, because now buyers are going to start asking questions. Well, what if I'm not happy with that fee? Because the thing is right now buyers don't have to see the commission until the closing disclosure. It's out.
Well, wait a minute, but that change. That's gonna. But that.
I'm just saying that when now they can see that amount up front when they're going out to see the house, that it's going to give them the idea of, wait a minute, because Phil Sexton, let me ask you, when somebody quotes you a number that you're unhappy with, let's just call it landscaping.
You can call it anything you want.
Phil and I are good friends. And Phil, if he doesn't like a number, what do you do with the number, Phil?
I try to adjust it.
You try and negotiate it.
And he's picking on landscaping because I just had a landscaper quit because I questioned the $750 quote that he gave me to trim a couple of trees off of a wire. And I'm like, $750? And he's like, you know what? Take it or leave it. You know what? I'm done working for you. Okay.
Right.
But now we hired a new landscaper, just so you know.
Right. Because for
one of the rental properties.
Well, no, and this is landscaping. Just in landscaping alone, before you hire someone to do your work, you have them what? Send you a quote.
Yes.
And buyer agents have not been sending people a quote ever. Is why we're having the podcast today.
Nice.
They have never had to.
The quotes they've been sending were free.
Right.
And now that goes away, we have to do a better job of establishing our value.
Well,
as buyers,
I'm not saying it's going away. I just think
free is going away.
Free is going away.
That's my point.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The word free.
Yes.
That was our quote we used to send to people for our buyer agent services. And that can't happen anymore.
If you want to keep your license.
Right.
If you don't want to keep your license, you can just keep on talking about free.
Yes. But I think
thank you for all for coming. We appreciate you being here because you obviously care about your license and you want to fight for commission, and we are going to help you today. But I would like to hear from the audience if they think it's going to, because the point of this is you and I were at a mastermind.
Okay.
Right. And we were at a mastermind
with realtors that we have deep relationships with,
and successful realtors
that have all experienced hyper growth in their business.
Yes, and we went there to learn how to leverage their marketing tactics to grow our own business. Yes. And therefore we are super excited to be in that opportunity. We had somebody pitch us yesterday, and they used the phrases deep relationships, hyper growth, and leverage. Like they were just the candy words. Yeah, go ahead.
Nina said, okay, how can we protect our commissions? What is changing? I have been a buyer agent.
Right.
Nice.
Awesome.
What is changing?
Yeah. So what is changing is that we are going to have to get used to, let me finish the story and I'll tell you, because the opposing super successful broker said that he thought 4 years ago that buyer broker commissions will always be protected. And I said,
and that the listing agent,
because my argument was what, because the thing was a lot of I'm in super competitive listing appointments, and I'm in super competitive listing appointments. People offer variable commission rates, and that sometimes to be competitive, you also have to offer a variable rate. Like one of our good friends, Russell Shaw, has always offered a variable rate commission because people want to know if it's easier for you then maybe it should cost me less, right? Like to me, it's weird that, you know, we get paid the same amount no matter how long it takes us, whether it's easy or hard. And that's where the commission lawsuits are after. So how do we protect it?
But commissions, I mean, let's be real. Commissions are totally negotiable from every different agent with every different, like, there's no set way to have a commission structured. Because there's lots of different, like I just passed the sign that had a flat fee listing. It's like, I know that there's perceived standards, but let's just
Okay,
sure
but today
clear.
we're focused on the buyer agent commission. So what it is that the way that to answer Nina's question, how you're going to is you're going to, I mean,
First of all, what is going to change was her first question. And one of the things that you will see changed soonest is the disclosure of the buyer broker commission fee to consumers. So when you pull up a property on cboc.com and it says the address and the subdivision and the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the elementary school and all of that data that comes from the MLS, historically, it has not included the buyer broker commission. And that is what you're going to see change in the near term.
right. So when they go to Zillow, when they go to Trulia, when they go to Redfin and they see a listing, it's going to say, and I don't know if it's going to say BB like it does in our MLS. JB, what does it say in yours? Is it BB, buyer broker, and then a number?
Well, let's wait for JB to get his mic unmuted.
I'm unmuted now. Thanks, guys. They show not as a dollar amount, but as a percentage, 2.5% or whatever.
Cool. So
But does it say BB? Is that the words?
I don't recall exactly. I mean, it's hidden among a bunch of data, but it's there. I think it's buyer broker commission, but I don't recall exactly.
If I were to guess, it's going to be hidden amongst a bunch of data, just like the listing agent is hidden among a bunch of data, even though that's a required disclosure.
Agreed, but I still think the buyers are going to find it, because the question is, I thought is, are they going to spell out commission or are they going to say BB, which means buyer broker or whatever it is? But either way, I think that disclosure will be the beginning of the change. But the other thing is, some people think that just because we have low supply that there's going to be lower commissions. I think that this change is going to happen, that the buyer is going to have to get signed the BBA. Phil,
The BBA, the
buyer broker
agreement. So the exclusive employment agreements for buyer agents and their clients.
So why we're making this call or action is because, I've been in, let's go with 5,000 homes with a buyer. Like I made my hay as a buyer's agent. And I don't know that I've ever, I think I had one signed. Yeah. And it was in 2005, and someone, maybe Marge told me at the agreement that you should probably now get it signed, but not as vicious as it's coming today. Like this thing is coming down the pipe. So we've broken out the buyer broker and start practicing it at our team meetings, because this is something that you need to, because if you haven't practiced it for 100 years, meaning realtors,
some realtors use the BBA. Actually, let's ask. Does anybody use the buyer broker agreement every time?
Every time. Currently? Signed every time.
JB, nice.
Once in a while.
Once in a while. All right, okay. Raul. Good to see you, man. How are you?
Raul?
Hey, how are you?
Nina does? Nice. Raj? 50%, what does that say? 90% of the time? Great.
Okay, so how many houses do you sell? Like just roughly?
Last year, 24.
On the buy side?
The buy side, 16.
So then you signed 90%, Raul? You're amazing.
No. Oh. Very little. No, I don't sign 90%.
Okay.
I don't use it very often.
Okay.
But the reality, because we're starting to see it now already with the new low supply. We're starting to see commissions. That company that your dad works for, I saw that they had a one of a 2.25. I know we've seen commissions at 2%. We met with an agent that said they're offering commissions at $1. Right? Like the reality is that I don't know. What I believe is that the change is going to come before we get out of this hot market, because we're now, we're under 4,000 homes.
It's interesting. I remember, I'll never forget the script when I first heard an agent talk to us. It was one of the agents that used the Craig Proctor program, which was, if I can't sell your house, I'll buy it.
Yeah,
You know, that marketing.
I do.
ploy?
Yeah.
So the agent got to a position where she couldn't sell the house, so she was going to have to buy it. So they reduced the commission offered to the buyer side to $1. And she was telling us how they were practicing scripts with her staff to be prepared for the angry agents that were going to call to say, what do you mean you're only offering $1?
Because she was going to lower the price, so she got to
not
offer
lower the price. Yeah, right.
the list
Lower
price, list
Yes.
price,
Because
and
she
then
didn't want to buy it.
right, and then she wanted to lower the commission because she knew that legally she had to offer something in there.
Yeah,
Because that's what we're going to see. Is we're going to see. To me, I think.
But here was her script. The point of that story is her script on the listing side for her staff. When agents call to say, what do you mean you're only offering $1? She was training.
You're calling it realtor smoke. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
She was training her staff to respond and say, well, do you have a buyer broker agreement signed with your client? And if the agent said no, then they were to gasp and say, oh, what? You mean you're letting other agents decide how much you're worth?
ba-da-ba.
Pushing it back on the buyer's agents. And what we're seeing with some of these changes in lawsuits, what we see coming down the pipeline is that the buyer side is going to have to step up and establish their own value.
Right.
Not let it be given by the listing agent that negotiated it with the seller before they even knew that buyer was interested in it.
Right. So to me, I think that the exercise that I want to recommend to the people today is the exercise we went through in 2013. And that was creating the what, Phil?
In 2013, the buyer booklet?
Nope, the buyer, the what do we call it? Buyer agent checklist.
Oh.
Why would I be advising people to come up with the buyer agent checklist? And we want to tell them what that is.
The buyer agent checklist is the 3.5-page document that is 12-point font, line by line, a checklist that takes a buyer from meeting them for the first time through whatever lead source they come in, through the qualifying process, through the previewing process, through what your actions are through the showing, what your actions are to get them under contract, all the way through the inspections to get them closed, and at the very end. Everything that you could possibly do to help a buyer is on that sheet to help make sure that you do an excellent job every single time.
Right. And
was that a good explanation of it?
That was really good.
Thanks.
I was better than I thought it was going to be.
You know, Jeff, the secret to happiness
is low expectation. Yes. So anyway, because I think it's a good exercise for each of us, because why the realtor commissions are under attack. How about Tracy Williamson? Do you want to mute your mic? Why do you think that buyer agent commissions are under attack?
Well, in the hot market, sellers know they can get away with paying less.
True, that is true. What else? Let's think of, I'm alluding to the activities. Who else wants to give it a shot? I'm talking about the activities that buyer agents do.
Oh, Carlos, are you raising your hand or are you just waving now that you moved to the car?
I'm waving and I just tuned in because I was with a buyer. Activities as a buyer's agent that we do CMAs, we do writing up the offers for our buyers, opening up their listings, talking to them at 10 o'clock at night when they're scared because their offer is not going to be accepted. Go to the inspections, open up for inspectors. What else?
It's like he's reading us his buyer agent checklist.
Hey, at least he's got a list.
Yeah.
Way to go, Carlos.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that's all right here. See, I'm driving.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
All right, but the challenge is there, like when the commissions were determined, is I think where the trouble is.
At the listing appointment, you mean?
No. Meaning in the 1970s.
70s?
Yes.
Yeah.
That the buyer's agent used to identify the homes that were fit for the buyer.
Oh.
I still do that. So what I do with my buyers, I tell them, they send me so many homes, and instead of me going around and running around like a chicken with my head cut off with them, I'll go look at 4 homes with them.
Oh, he got muted. He's technical
Give
difficulties.
me a home. No, this one won't work. No, this one won't work. And then I go preview my homes like Jeff talks about all the time.
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So how many homes do you think you look at on average per buyer?
Now? When I
Yes.
started doing that process now? 5.
Okay. Okay. Give you an example. So me as a buyer's agent in 2004 and 2005, I was seeing on average 50 to 75 houses per buyer.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yes. So to me, when I hear agents say that they're working hard, I'm like, you don't know, like but I mean, that's what, because, well, I was not that smart, right? Like when I was a new agent, when someone said they would say, I need a 3-bedroom, I need 2.5 baths, I need a pool, I need to be in this neighborhood. I thought my job was actually to find the house for them.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then like,
To
because
understand the inventory.
they told me so that I would work to go out and identify the house before them.
Right.
Before them.
Yeah.
And therefore, I like as soon as the house was listed, I would drive out and see it. I mean, first I would start by seeing every house that was within a 3-mile radius of where they looked.
And at that point, there was probably what, 25,000 homes for sale in the valley?
I mean, the number
And
I
no
remember
follow-up?
is 33,000, but it included the UCB. So I think the number probably would be 26 to 28,000
okay,
actives.
which to put it in perspective is now currently 7 times the number of homes that are for sale in our marketplace now.
Yeah, but it has
So even if you take Carlos's 5 per buyer in this market, assuming that he's got low inventory now too, and you times that by 7, when there's more inventory, he might actually be at the 35.
No. The thing is it doesn't mean just because there's low inventory that you should be in less houses. They're still being listed, right? Like to me, the biggest thing for agents not that they're missing is, yes, there's 3,971 in Maricopa County, for instance, less than 4,000 active. But each month there's still 9,000 listed, where in that marketplace there was probably 11,000 listed. So the supply is actually only going down by
a little bit.
So
Like 20,000 on
right. So if I was looking at 50 and you said, well, now I can only see 35, then I would be like, okay, because they're still coming on. But the problem is that we have as agents slept on this idea of let the buyer, because that was the rhetoric at the mastermind agreement. That was is why would I tell buyers they should go on and find out whatever they want, and that passing of the service from us to the buyer is why they're all filing these lawsuits, is we're not working hard enough for our money. That's what they're saying.
Let's take a quick commercial break because I
Okay.
want to talk to you more about this. Thank you guys for hanging out with us through our commercial break. We appreciate that. I mean, we just left with you making a pretty bold statement that because the buyer is doing more of the search process, that's why there is downward pressure on buyer agent commission.
I believe that.
Okay. What are other reasons? What do you guys believe? Do you believe that? And we're looking at a studio audience. If anybody's listening to our podcast, I just want you to be aware that you can go to realestateleopard.com and subscribe. If you type in your cell phone number, we'll shoot you a text message with a link to join our live studio audience. Currently, we've got about 15 people that are in 13 people that are in our live studio audience with us.
And
so
also
this can be
they can
interactive.
visit realestateleopard.com. We're putting out
That's
a
where
lot
they
of
put-
content on the blog as well. It says why now, like why we're looking for these changes is because we need to help. I mean, to me, we need to put it, be more consumer friendly, and that our current system, unfortunately, is guaranteeing pay for agents that are new.
Ideally, what do you want to see happen?
What do I want to see happen is I think that I want to see an apprenticeship program for any new agent come into the system. To me, the agents are undertrained coming into, I mean, right now we got 7 escrows and 5 of them are with people that are either part-time agents or brand new agents getting checks over 25 grand. And we're doing both sides. Like they don't even realize that
we have. What do you mean? We have 7 escrows? What? I don't understand the number.
we have 7 listings.
Oh, 7
Right.
listings.
And the buyer is
that are in escrow,
right.
and 5 of them are from a buyer's agent who's not on our team, some that have never sold a house.
I was gonna
some
say
of them-
haven't sold a house in 5 years.
Right.
And they're
Forever.
not informing the consumer well, or they are the consumer or a relative. And
Oh.
we're actually doing both sides of the transaction. And I have no problem doing that. I mean, why we created the team is to give a level of service no matter what it is. But the reality is that shouldn't have, like, why are we, because we have to give away on the listing side, we have to give away this commission or we get hate mail, and that's broken. But the way that we can fix it is by creating, actually by raising the bar, by saying that those that will be left in the system will be those that sell lots of houses and are trained and are operating at a high level. Because what's happening is they're using that leverage of bad experiences to say that they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, Phil.
The baby out with the bathwater.
Yes. Well, they're because you have the ethics complaints against
Who's the baby? What's the bathwater?
the bathwater is the 1.4 million agents in the U.S.
The bathwater is, so we're throwing the 1.4
Right,
million
all, like
agents out.
NAR, all the realtors.
who's the
There's
baby?
now more.
Who's the baby?
There's more agents than there are houses listed. So
Who's
it's
the baby?
the baby is the elite agents.
Got it.
The elite, the agents that do a
Oh.
great job, the ones that are the true professionals in the business, that we're okay with taking the GRI. We're okay with, but we, to me, the reality is the commissions could get less expensive, and those that remain could actually make twice as much money because we're not paying people that are doing a bad job.
Wow.
Well, that was a
That-
mouthful, huh?
we got there.
Woo! Okay. Oh, I'm sweating. I'm sweating. Is it out there?
But what about buyer's agents that follow the Jeff and Phil philosophy, that actually work hard?
Well, those are the smart ones.
Well, the thing is you're going to survive, Carlos. I'm not worried. Like, you're going to come with us. Like, we're all going to get on the yacht, the ark together, right? We're going to load them on 2 by 2.
I like
Carlos, you're going to be with us, my friend, right? Because you're going to deliver a level of service above what is delivered in the industry today. Like, they said they were going to raise the bar, and said they're filling the bar, and I want to help. I want the people that are going to come along. I have no problems with helping agents raise their level of service. That's why we do the podcast. That's why we talk about things, because I'm just tired of us misleading consumers. But it's the system's just got to change. Yes.
Us misleading consumers.
Not you and I, not Carlos, not Nina, not JB.
Not our listeners out there.
Not our listeners. No, because they're listening because they want to get better.
You know what's interesting is when a newer agent that works with a buyer gets a big check, what is that buyer more likely to do?
Give half of it to their customer.
That buyer is more likely to go get their license because of how easy it looked
True.
to get a 25 or whatever that number is, that big old number. Like, that person never sold a house before. They just walked me in and wrote a contract and they got $30,000. And they had to sit in a classroom for 90 hours and then just join a brokerage that cost $25 a month. And that's all it took to get 25 grand. Hold on. I can do that.
Well, here's the thing is the existing system.
But when the buyer's agents are great, when the buyer agents actually help navigate the contract in ways that are able to use leverage and position the buyer in order, where the buyer can see the greatness of their agent and the skill set that their agent has, would you say that person is more or less likely to go get their real estate license?
They're not. No, because it's going to be more expensive. And
because it looks harder.
Here's the thing is not only that is because because then brokers could actually put out a promise. Oh, wow.
Oh, a promise.
A promise.
Tell me more.
Of the level of service that my agent's going to deliver for you.
Oh.
Do you see any broker out there with a promise to people that we're going to find the house for you, that we're going to get you top dollar? Is that the things that brokers are saying on their websites?
Top dollar, I see.
Not just top dollar, but here's how and why we do it. Right. But to me, it's raising the voice of the elite agents and teams as well, because we are the ones that are going to articulate it, because brokers are still going to be recruiting agents and worried about risk. But we are going to be the ones, and we're going to start to create these promises because we can deliver. and then we can get paid a reasonable amount. If we don't, because the thing is if we take away the guaranteed amount to people that are collecting a check and not delivering on the service, and there's the amount left, well, you know what? We could live off that amount left and be fine, and we wouldn't be considered overcharging our consumers like the lawsuits say. Woo! Comments?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raj says, so if we can get to the meat of the matter, how do we protect our commission with all these DOJ and NRA new mandates?
I
BBA.
think BBA is the short answer.
Buyer broker agreement. So the way that you do is the first level we were telling you is draw up a buyer agent checklist, because what happens when you're going to get the buyer broker agreement signed, you have to articulate what services you're going to provide. So sorry, I did not make it explicitly clear, Raj. The reason I want you to put that what you deliver to the agent and why I was talking about the promise is that is actually how you're going to defend your pay.
And so then we also in Arizona, there's a form called the Ready form. I mean, that's just,
Which is great because you get to walk them through the fiduciary. Go ahead, tell them about it.
that's the agency conversation, right? The loyalty that you have to that person, how you get paid, like what your job in a sense is being their exclusive representation.
So Raj,
so-
go ahead.
so
Phil's saying get the ready, the
I don't know what,
agency.
Raj, what state are you in? Or JB, who's in a different state other than Arizona? What is the agency form called in your state that explains that, I don't know, our brokers require us to have an agency form signed. It's called the Ready form here.
Here it's the information about brokerage services form. And
There's no business.
Texas.
What's the acronym for that?
AIBS
The AIBS?
in Texas. Yeah.
Okay, Texas.
JB, what's it in Washington?
Hold on, he might have lost his microphone. That's what that hand signal says. Yeah, he's typing in the chat.
Raj, are you in Arizona?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Okay,
so
got
then
it.
it's the ready form. So what we're suggesting is get the ready form and
Create a buyer agent checklist, get your Ready form and how you can explain the Ready form, and get your buyer broker agreement and prepare.
No, practice.
Practice.
Right, like
Okay.
start pitching it to.
You're right. Don't prepare. Just practice with what you're going to say, with how you defend why you are great.
Well, let me ask you, for a lot of agents, when we tell them to do stuff, do they just prepare or do they practice?
You know, our sarcastic studio manager, Adam, said neither.
Right, exactly. But the point is first prepare it, then practice it, meaning that every buyer, to me, the way that you can defend yourself, Raj, is by getting your Ready form and your BBA signed every single time. And because you're going to fail at it, you're going to struggle with it. You're going to be weak. To me, the question is will you be able to get 100% of buyers to sign an agreement for 3% if you have to fight for it every time? Okay. And the only way that you're going to get there is if you start practicing it now.
But you know, Jeff and Raj, I appreciate you turning your video on. I like that you and Raul use the same virtual background. That's awesome. But before, but with
that's a real bookcase.
I know. Thank you.
So I have a question. When you prepare that BBA, and which I do, and I also say, okay, if the seller does not pay, buyer will pay X amount as a commission. But in reference to the buyer checklist that you prepared in 2013, is that something that needs to be attached to the BBA?
No. It's just for you to be able to make sure, because the important thing when questioned during the presentation of the buyer broker agreement is it's best to name out your different titles of the different services to make sure you're supporting your wanting of a large commission check. Right?
We have something here on the CBOC team and in the coaching programs that we run called Selling with Pictures. And when we're trying to help you create the materials which give you a visual element to add to your conversation with your buyers, rather than just saying to your buyers, I do a lot of work for you. I'm going to be loyal to you rather than
I'm going to preview. I'm going to
Yes.
like, to me,
like you have to, we're talking about the buyer agent checklist to help you develop a visual element when you're explaining what you do.
well, what I'm alluding to here is when I go to a listing presentation,
And Linda has her hand
and,
up. That's
great.
what Raj's-
right? So when I do a listing presentation, because I'm trying to get a commission number signed, I have to go through the process. I have to go through the marketing. I have to review their house. I have to then review the comps with them in a listing presentation that takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people are prepared enough. And this is what we're trying to help you with, is creating a visual representation, meaning, so you may have your CMA, your buyer marketing agreement or whatever that goes out. But to me, we're going to be presenting on laptops about what you do. So it's going to be, Raj, you waving in front of a house that you're not with a buyer, right? Like, to me, you're going to pull up like the 12 houses and you're going to create a little stick guy that's going to be like, I went to see this one and I went to see this one and I went to, no, but I'm not kidding. You're going to have to create visual printouts or a PowerPoint presentation that you're going to take with you and you're going to have to present to them. And then it's then you're going to have to pull up, well, I negotiated 300 contracts, and you're going to have pictures of your clients that I've already done this. And because that gives me the expertise when I'm negotiating. Like, to me, we have not even gotten to this yet. And why we want it, because we're trying to help them get prepared, Phil, because you're going to be in a fight that you have not experienced before.
All right, let's go to Linda. Let's go to Linda.
Okay,
We already told them why. Linda, I'm gonna wait to see your mic get unmuted, but I saw you.
That's what Zillow, putting your sales in Zillow is for.
That is one reason, yes. But Linda, you have your hand raised. I don't know, maybe that was just an accidental click, or maybe you do have a question and you're searching for the mute button. Either way, if
we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. If
Okay.
I see, oh, there you go. We're back. Hi.
Hi. Hey, so I'm a real estate agent in Nevada, not Arizona. You were talking about this ready agreement that you guys have in Arizona. Is that something that you guys make up, or because
it's a state form.
It's called the Real Estate Election and Disclosure
Agency disclosure.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So I'm not really like the equivalent in Nevada. Like, I'm not really. It's not your. It's my duty to find out what that is. I don't know. I get the BBA.
Linda, do you have agency? Do you in the state? Form? Do you have agency in the state of Nevada?
Yes.
I mean, what I mean is you're not a sub agent, or you actually represent the client. So what is the form that your broker says on everyone? Because in our discussion of this, the BBA is an optional form, not required by the buyer currently or by the broker. But the form that we have to sign for every buyer is called agency election.
Okay. I don't believe that's, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to look that up because I've never heard them talk about that ever.
Okay.
So
that's fine. Yeah, just ask your broker, just say, what is this? And you probably get it. It's probably part of another form that you have signed, or sometimes the agency election in our case, which is on page 9, it states it right on the actual purchase contract in some states. So she may not have to get it signed. It's just what it is it's a form that you may want to create for yourself, because what it is our form talks about the fiduciary duty that we have in being honesty, but also loyalty to that client, that you're not going to sell them down the river, whatever it is. But it states whether you're going to show what it is it addresses dual agency in our state. So it says, well, I can show properties that are with my own brokerage or not, and how that, because that changes your agency, because then you're in dual agency. Was that helpful?
Yeah, no, that's totally helpful. Especially like I just had a dual agency, not with me, but with somebody in my own neighborhood where they did a dual agency. I was kind of surprised. I've always looked at that as being risky, but I don't know. Maybe it's not as risky as I think.
We think we're going to see it a lot more.
Dual agency is actually misinterpreted by a lot of people of whether it's risky or not, because in I mean, Maricopa County in Arizona, where we work, there's some brokerages that have 5,000 agents at them. And technically, when if one of those agents at that company lists a house, and then another agent that they've never met, that they have never talked to, that they don't know, but they're at the same brokerage, technically represents the buyer of that house, buys it. Technically, that's dual agency because both those agents are at the brokerage. But I think what we're talking about when you say that dual agency is frowned upon, I think what you're really saying is when one person represents both the buyer and the seller.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, I think that especially in the low inventory environment, we may see the, more variable commission and that kind of thing. But what I want to talk about is that we do not prefer one agent
to represent the buyer and the seller.
Right. We do not. That is not something that we recommend. It happens.
It's actually illegal in some states.
Right. We recommend that because I believe as long as you have one person that's solely representing both sides, even like, because sometimes under the CBOC team, the TC represents one side who's an agent that has negotiated more than 300 deals, and she represents the person, even though we're double siding the deal. So to me, what will happen more and more is we have teams is there's still two agents, and that agent's going to fight for their client, and that kind of dual agency to me is fine because it's not like, because you meet with them, as long as you're not meeting together with both clients, like that, then it's questionable. But I believe that everybody should have one person that's fighting for them. And as long as that happens, dual agency won't get in trouble. I mean, the thing about dual agency is it is next to leases and property management. Dual agency that's why brokers, you said risky, that's why brokers, because that's the most amount of lawsuits. But it typically happens when one person represents both sides, because I don't think that I heard a great agent one time in Arizona say on stage that you just have to be honest, but then you're not representing fully one person or the other, even though you're being honest. And
you can't actually be honest in dual agency.
Yeah, I don't.
it's kind of like saying,
Okay.
well, I
No,
multitask. No, you can't concentrate on two things at once. You go from one to the other, and yes, Raul.
Okay, so scenario, and I haven't been,
Thank
in-
you, Linda. We appreciate you chiming in.
I haven't been in dual agency very, very often, just a few. But in this environment right now, that everybody's asking you to waive this and waive that, and that's where I see conflicts. What if an appraisal comes, you offer X amount of dollars, and it comes below, you're sitting on both sides as the same, you're single agent on both sides. I think that is really, really hard. What do you do in that kind of a scenario? That's the scenario that I think is really hard, because even if you're
I agree. I've never represented. I don't know. I'm sure I did one right out of the 2,500. I'm sure I have one out there, but that is not, because there's lots of situations, not just appraisals. There's offer price.
I know, but that's the first one that comes to my mind. I mean, even at least when there's two of us, even though we are the same company and we do representation, at least it's two different people working, but when you're sitting in
the answer is you have to navigate that very carefully, right? You've got to talk about, you can present comps to both sides. You can present where you see the market going to both sides, but it's ultimately up to the client on what they're going to do. So it's not, you have to just be comfortable with the information that you're sharing. Can't be information that is going to damn one side or the other.
And it's hard because it's a very slippery slope of sharing. To me, we can look at the attorneys where they say it's a conflict of interest. I'm already working with, to me, with Leopard, we're definitely recommending to, just because.
Well, how bad do you, to your buyers?
Here's what it is according to the National Association of Realtors ethics, right? Like, you can't put your interest ahead of your clients. And the problem is that you're looking for two commissions.
Well, that's not necessarily the case, but
you're trying to make a second commission. Because
I don't know
if you're not making more money, then why would you do it?
to help the
Correct.
client save money if you have variable commission.
They still need representation. That's the way I'm at. I'm just
Yeah.
there.
I
No,
agree.
All right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Raul.
Nina,
Your email said you would talk about what's changing.
the commission, the buyer agent commission that is guaranteed through MLS. So there's a few things, Nina. What's changing is what we had already discussed when you said what's changing, and we said that the buyer agent commission is now going to be disclosed from the other side. It is now going to be disclosed publicly. That is changing. The other thing that we foresee changing is because of all the pressure from the lawsuits on NAR about the commission structure. What we see changing is the way that is what I don't know. I'm using air quotes, the norm.
Okay. No.
right?
Yeah, but no, I think that it could go away.
What?
BB offered is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I think that we are gonna. I'm gonna make a prediction.
sellers incentivizing the buyers agents to show their house, you think is going to go away?
I do.
Market to market.
Well, no, I mean, to me, I think actually, here's what it is I think it's going to be 1% is the number, or
I don't know
half.
that there's ever a number. There's no number.
I think there is going to be. I think there's going to be a.
That's
I
like,
think
that sounds like price
no,
fixing.
not price fixing. I think that sellers are going to be it. They're going to take away the norm of having to guarantee this amount, and therefore, listing agents are going to have to stop telling people that they have to offer that amount. Is what I think is going to be. I think there's going to be lawsuits about it. I just think there's going to be, and then you have to explain to the seller that they can offer whatever they want, because that's not what's going on right now. Is that the agents are saying you have to put in a big number every time or you won't get your property shown. And
that's what's changing.
That's what's
Let's
going
be
to,
real.
right. And
That's
that is what's going to, because Jack Ryan recorded agents in Houston. Jack Ryan is a guy with Rex, and they were outside the house.
A non-MLS brokerage.
Non-MLS brokerage.
Non-realtors.
And the realtors for HAR said, well, I'm not going to show the house. It's less than offered that commission. That lawsuit has got some legs, right? Like, you got somebody on record saying they will not show that. And I think that as it comes out in the lawsuits, that what else is going to be the result? So to me, the only way to fix it is to not offer it. Like, what, like, do we get offered?
Let the buyer side fight for
Let
the
me ask you a question. What is my commission that's offered when I go to list a house?
Whatever you can talk to the seller about.
Right.
Services, you guys establish a value.
Because that's what
it
Rex is saying. They're saying, like, so then let the buyer negotiate their own commission with their agent. And I think
let's say that this market turns. Let's say that the inventory floods, the interest rates rise, and now we've got 40,000 homes on the market.
I think that
still as big of a problem as it is today.
Yes.
Still as many lawsuits.
Yes.
Even let's say that the
it's going to be changed
in the marketplace dries up. You think? Don't you feel like because there's so much money in the marketplace is why these lawsuits?
Well, here's what's going to happen: is it's going to be revealed that through the lawsuits and the recordings of lawsuits, when they go there, they're going to bring in agents and they're going to say, well, what did you do for that commission? And the public embarrassment that's going to come out with their articulation of what they deserve to get the bigger commission is going to be one that it's going to either drop the reputation so low with the realtors that the public's going to, that's what I think is coming. To me, they're fed up. Like, why? Like, I thought one lawsuit was I thought 2 lawsuits. Now we got 6, and we're not even a full year yet. Right?
So I'm going to wrap this up because this turned into one of our longer episodes.
Sorry.
Thank you. You're apologizing to me? I enjoy these. You're apologizing to the audience.
I'm apologizing to the audience, right? Like, obviously, I'm deep rooted in this, but because
I think the takeaway is practice. If you represent buyers, then you should be practicing your explanation of your value.
Yes. You should.
If you represent buyers,
yes,
get better at it. Become one of the best buyer agents in your marketplace and be able to articulate that value so that you can defend your side of the commission.
Right. I think we're going to start to see where you would, the reveal of the, some of the agents, they say, this is what I'm going to do to market your house. it's gonna be buyer agents saying, this is what I'll do to represent you, right? Like, because
the listing presentation is going to be very.
well, why,
you're going to have a buyer.
well, let me ask you,
presentation
why isn't that? It should be normal, right? Like, why is it that the listing agent negotiates the buyer's
You know what,
pay?
Jeff? I actually love that question, and I am going to take it on. I want to find that out. When did this start? Stay tuned, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoy the conversation, give us the 5 stars when you listen to the podcast.
Share it with a friend.
If
right?
you want to
Like,
join the live studio audience so that you can participate in our back and forth, go to realestateleopard.com and type your phone number in, and we'll just text you an update when we go live on Thursdays.
happy Thursday.
1 o'clock AZ time. Adios.
Thank you.